There are a number of coaches, professionals who are great at having the gift of the gab, inspiring, motivating. From your journey, having understood education, having experienced the highs and the lows, what are your thoughts in regards to having the actual qualification to carry out the work that someone in your circumstance is doing currently? Is it important to have the paperwork?
It's important to do due diligence to your craft. And there are a number of different ways of doing that. So, I think with coaching, there's no one qualification that is perfect. There's lots of different routes into coaching. You can do a level 3 in coaching. You can do a level 5 in coaching. You can do a level 7 in coaching. You can do a coaching master's degree. There's lots of ways you can get into it. And you can do some things that aren't regulated at all. And I would say I probably learned more out of those sessions than anything else. There's a strand of coaching, which is also a therapeutic strand called clean language and symbolic modeling, which I dedicated myself to for about 5 or 6 years. And I probably learned more out of that than any of my formal qualifications. But one of the things that you learn out of a formal qualification and out of a professional training process is around things like your competence to practice. So the point at which you say, do you know what, this is beyond me and I now need to refer you on. So you start to learn what your limits are and work to those. You get challenged on your own stuff. So you need to be challenged on your own stuff if you're going to do people work. You need to know where your boundaries are. And because particularly if you have lived experience. So I would say if you have lived experience, that's even more important because you're going to meet clients who are going to trigger you.
Yeah.
They're going to be like you. They're going to have had similar things to you. And it's difficult to not get drawn into that emotionally. You have to know that that's going to happen. You have to prepare for it. You have to have supervision groups, people where you can go to bounce that off. And you have to know when it's too much for you and you have to refer that person on. And I think that stuff's overlooked in a lot of the kind of, have a 6-week certificate in ADHD coaching. Like people aren't taking care of that. And in my community, in neurodivergent people are vulnerable. We're much more likely to have PTSD than the general population. We've been ostracized, discriminated against. We think we have no value. We're worried about our careers. We're worried about our livelihoods. Can we put a roof over our heads? Because will we ever manage to hold down a job more than 2 years, 6 months, whatever it might be? So that level of vulnerability requires due diligence and it requires safeguarding and support structures. So I wouldn't say that you have to do a qualification, but what I would say is you have to do that.
Thank you. This discussion, we have to cover a community which you've already mentioned you're part of and very proud to be a part of. You smile whenever we talk about it. And I know also that it frustrates you a little bit as well, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But a bit of a loaded question for you now.